Hello, welcome to He's Hot, but something is off. Something is a little bit off. So in this recording studio, I call it a studio because the main thing I do in this room, my house, is record my podcast. I love having the podcast set up just kind of out in this room instead of having everything stowed away every time I need to record, because whenever I feel like recording a podcast, I can just come into this room, I can just sit down, hit record, and get going right away. I've got lights that are set up for the video version of the podcast that's on the YouTube channel. So it's nice. But it's a little bit weird because on the other side of this room, which you can't see, I've got a mirror and I have blinds that I've installed over the mirrors I put on the wall to cover up the mirrors when I don't want to see the mirrors. It's just like a multi-functional room. So I have guests coming over. I put the curtains down. I put the mirrors up on the other side of the room when I used to have a weight rack. This used to be my gym. My COVID gym was like this half of the room. It's like a pretty big bedroom that I'm in. And the other half of this room used to be like my work area. When I had the day job, the 9 to 5, I would have that in like one corner, one of the four corners of this room. Whenever I would just want to go to work, I would just walk up there, unlock the laptop. Everything was set up, ready to go. And I took a lot of conference calls, a lot of Zoom calls in that corner of this room. But that was before I did the podcasting. So in this part where I'm sitting right now of the room, there used to be a giant weight rack here. And it went almost all the way to the ceiling. I didn't measure before I bought it, but this was early on in COVID. This was late 2020, going into 2021, that I bought everything. And I think it was a little bit difficult to buy the stuff, but like I eventually managed it. So I had a gym set up here in this part of the room where I'm sitting right now for a year and a half, maybe. And then eventually all the gyms opened, and I preferred to work at a gym instead of on this little weight rack that I had at home. So everything, all the weight rack stuff, I disassembled it. I had a barbell, had a bunch of weight plates for it. I've off to the corner here, I have a really heavy duty bench, like a workout bench. The rest of the stuff is actually in the closet. Everything's stowed away. The mirrors was when this was a gym, because, when you work at a gym, it's good to be like facing a mirror when you're doing certain exercises so you can kind of check your own form as you're working out. That's sometimes very helpful. So when I had the gym set up in this half of the room, I have put up mirrors facing the weight rack. So yeah, I'm looking at myself in the mirror right now behind the camera. Anyways, it's almost, not quite, but it's almost 2025, and there's going to be some big changes going into 2025. My realtor was just here, the same real estate agent that I bought this condo from, because I am going to sell the condo. So that's why like various things in the house are moved, because he was like peeking at the different rooms and looking at the furniture and whatnot. Yeah, so I've been here over 4 years now. It'll be probably about 4.5 by the time I actually move out of here, get all the stuff out of the apartment. This is my first house that I've ever bought, and I was eager, especially during COVID when everyone was doing home improvement, because there's not that many things you could do, and everyone was trapped inside, so people were very gung-ho with the home improvements. This being my first home and also getting it during COVID, I wanted to put my own touches on it that one would not be able to do if you were renting a place, right? So a bunch of light switches I switched up for smart light switches. I painted every room. This room I'm sitting in got painted twice. I painted it a different color a couple years ago, but it was like a very dark color when I first bought the place. Like the paint colors I chose for this room initially was like a tomato red on one of the walls as an accent wall. And the other three walls were like a dark green, like a teal. In hindsight, that wasn't a very good color, but I remember looking for inspirations for what colors to paint my walls, and I saw this photo of this home gym on Google image search or something like that, and they had these like darker green walls and this like red feature wall, and I was like, oh, that looks good, I'll do that. It didn't look bad when I painted it. I mean, I kept it for 2 years, and I didn't really think it was like bad looking or whatever. But after a couple of years, I was like, you know what? I probably don't prefer a room with dark walls. I just prefer rooms with, lighter colored paint. So a couple years in, this is 2022, I remember, I decided to repaint this room, and it's like I got this mid-green wall behind me, and then the rest of the walls are white. My fondest memory of living in this place is the number of hours I put into work, whatever the work was, whatever job it was. I didn't have a lot of people over, honestly. But yeah, it's time to move on to the next chapter in my life. So we'll be listing this house in the new year, and then I will give you all an update on where I'm going to go next. But I did post something about this on my Instagram a couple weeks ago. So if you follow me on my Instagram, you might have seen the beginnings of me planning a move. So stay tuned. There are a lot of moving parts. There are a lot of options. I know where I want to go already, but I think it's kind of fun to keep that from you. You'll know when it's time to know. Let's put it that way. Hey, when was the last time you really took care of your skin? The skin is the largest organ in the whole human body and is doing so much for you. It protects you from germs and cooties. It keeps you warm when you're cold. It keeps you cool when you're hot. It's making vitamin D. It gives you the gift of touch and sensation. And that's just scratching the surface, so you better take care of it. I started my own skincare company, Serve Labs, to serve fun and functional skincare for everyone, so that you can serve fun while serving face. Go to servelabs.co, servelabs.co, or follow us at Serve Labs on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and discover how easy and fun it is to treat your skin right with Serve Labs. But the realtor said it will be pretty easy sale. The realtor thinks I can just use my existing furniture in the house for like the staging photos, or for like the photos that's going to go on the MLS. And he doesn't think I need that much staging. Like this room that I'm in is supposed to be the primary bedroom, and it doesn't have typical bedroom furniture in it. It just has this desk, my podcasting setup. I've got lights. I have a mattress on the floor, you guys. There's just my guest mattress. The mattress that my guests sleep on is just on the floor. I know, it's horrible. Most people would find it completely unacceptable. I personally don't care. Neither does David Lamb, so there you go. So we'll need a little staging here. I have a little patio out of the primary bedroom that is one of the reasons I bought this place. It's got this like little patio. During COVID, everyone was desiring outdoor space, right? Their own little private outdoor space. And in retrospect, I hate patios because I never go out on them, and it's maintenance. So, and when I say by maintenance, actually, it's not been that much maintenance. But right now, let's move on to the next topic I want to talk about, which is the stupid HOA. I've got this patio out there. It's kind of like a shared patio. It's like 4 units in this building have like access to this like shared patio space, and we kind of it's been divided up between like the 4 units. But if we took all the items off of the patio, it's just one big blank patio space for these 4 units that have access to it. Mine's one of them. And they need to like reseal the floors or something, which is fine. There's a parking garage underneath. Apparently there's like leaks from the whatever patio. Fine, sure. But they only gave us 5 days of notice to move everything off of the patio. And that's not enough time. I barely have anything out there. So the previous homeowner had spruced it up a little bit. So he had put up some bamboo plants, fake bamboo plants, thank God, all around the perimeter of my share of that shared patio. It actually looks really nice. He had it looking really nice when I bought the place. Okay, I remember he had these new bamboo plants all around the perimeter of it, and then he had put in astroturf, and then he had put in some lights on some like pillar things, and it actually looks very nice, and that's the way he had it, and it looked really good in the photos. It actually looked good in person when I toured the place. He took away the astroturf when he left, but the rest of the bamboo plants and like the string lights and stuff, it stayed. It actually looked very nice. I haven't been out there this entire time that I've owned this place. Through wind and storm and the elements and weather, like I have not maintained one tiny little iota of any part of that patio. Literally, like we've had some strong winds over the years that have came through, blown things around, blown the fake leaves off the fake bamboo plants, and I have not done anything about it. And last week, they sent out this notice to the building. Oh, the shared patio, we need to reseal it or do some waterproofing, whatever, and you need to remove everything in 5 days. That is not going to happen. That is really not going to happen. I ain't going to do shit, which is kind of sort of unlike me because I think my personality is if something needs to be done, I feel like I'm just going to go do it, especially if it inconveniences other people. I like to be out of the way. I don't want to be in the way of other people. Like the building needs this waterproofing work to be done. And the old/normal me would be like, oh, I don't want my stuff to be in the way. This has to be done for the building. I need to get my stuff out of there. Fast forward to the current me. If that was 10 years ago, I'd be like bending over backwards because I'm been raised to be just such a stickler for like obeying authority. And now today, me is not like I go all the way to like bend the rules or whatever. But like, look, I have the least amount of crap out on that shared patio amongst these 4 units. Okay. I just took a peek out there. All the other 3 units have more stuff than me, and they haven't lifted one finger, honestly. So, and none of the stuff that's in my share of that shared patio, I mean, they get vanished tomorrow, and I don't care. I never go out there. So, but to give someone 5 days to move what could be a considerable amount of stuff, I've got a neighbor right across. He basically has like a ton of plants. Some of them are like in pretty sizable pots. He's one person, an older guy. He can't move all that stuff by himself. Yeah, you can hire people to move that stuff, but like, I don't know if we can get it done in 5 days. And what if I was away out of town for those 5 days? So it's just not reasonable for them to be like, okay, we're doing this in 5 days, get your shit out. So I'm just not going to do anything. And I am not going to let it stress me out. If they were reasonable with the notice period, I would be more willing to do something. But I'm going to do nothing. The old me would be like all getting anxious and nervous inside about like, oh my God, they need this stuff done by this deadline and it's past the deadline, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I own this place. And the HOA should have, not the HOA, but I think the management company, technically the management company, not the HOA. The management company should have consulted these 4 units and be like, hey, we need this work done. Obviously, you guys have stuff on the patio. Can we find a date to do this where you guys will have cleared everything off? You can't just blankly say like, we're doing this in 5 days and not even consult us. So I'm being nice, honestly. I could have let that bitch have it, but I didn't. They texted me earlier and I was like, haven't replied yet. I let them say, oh, all the stuff that's out there, I mean, I can get people to move it, but it's not going to happen in the middle of December when we're about to go into Christmas and New Year's. But if you want to get rid of it for free, you can trash all the stuff that's there. I've got a little bit of a bone to pick with that management company. But I guess I don't care anymore because I'm going to be moving out soon. So there you go. I'm glad I purchased this place. It's been a good move, like for me personally. It's been a good move for me financially. It has given me some stability. There are benefits to home ownership, but there are also some cons to owning property as well. Yeah, and I mentioned it a little bit on my Uncut podcast for the Patreon subscribers. By the way, join me on the Patreon. It's really, really fun over there. Plug. Yeah, but one thing's to be simplified, at least for like the next little bit, for like the next 2 or 3 years until, whatever developments happen in the future. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But I just want things to be a little more simplified for the next little bit while I trying to like run my own businesses. And I don't want to have to do property tax anymore. Property tax is quite expensive in California, as you would imagine. Home insurance is not that cheap either. The stupid HOA that's charging me like so many hundreds of dollars every month for the HOA fee. I don't like HOAs, but if you live in a condo, like you can't, like pretty much all condos have HOAs. And the HOAs are expensive. I don't want to badmouth the HOA necessarily because people on the HOA, they're homeowners too. People that are on the board of the HOA, like they also own units in the building. Once I sell this place and I'm long gone for this place, remind me and then I'll tell you my feelings and thoughts about HOAs. Let's do that. Yeah, but I want to go back to renting. I just want things to be easy. I feel like most people at some point in their lives eventually maybe it's not like you wake up one morning, you realize it, but maybe gradually over time, eventually you just want things to be easy. I don't want to have to worry about property taxes. I don't want to have to worry about cleaning out my patio because someone needs to do something, or rather with sealing, waterproofing, whatever the F it is. I don't want to have to fix something myself when something in the house goes wrong. Nothing's really gone wrong with the house, honestly, but I will say I'm not going to be staying in West Hollywood. I probably won't be staying in the greater LA area, even though I'm not telling you exactly where I'm going yet, because I'm not even 100% sure where I'm going next myself. There's a short list, but I don't know where I'm going yet, but I don't think I'm staying in LA. And that's so weird because I do want to live here. If you put aside the realities of finances, this is kind of sort of where I prefer to live. Being an adult, things cost money and you gotta pay to play, basically. And it doesn't make sense for me right now to pay to live in the middle of West Hollywood. If I had a ton more money, we probably wouldn't be talking about selling this condo right now. But I'm excited, though, to make a change. I don't like moving. Oh, by the way, always hire movers. When I was young, when I was like barely out of college, when you don't have that much money, obviously coming out of college, you move everything yourself. I remember days when I would get a U-Haul and try to move as much of the stuff. It's basically moving without movers, okay? But as I got older and I had slightly more stuff, not even that much more stuff, but just slightly more stuff. And the last couple of moves, the last 2 or 3 moves, I did have movers. Movers are life-changing. Like, if you ever try to move, even just like a studio apartment, okay? Even if you don't have that much stuff, movers are life-changing. Like, always get movers. It's easy for me to be cheap and not try to pay for any kind of help. And I'm also a very independent person, but like, God, do I recommend movers? Like, just pay for movers. Okay, can I tell you something for real? Skincare is not really a sexy topic. No one's waking up in the middle of the night thinking, oh my God, I have to take care of my skin. I know I talk a lot on the podcast, I have a lot of opinions, and I have a lot of advice to give, but if you don't listen to me about anything, listen to me about this. You have to take care of yourself, and you also have to take care of your skin. I believe in it so much, and I think it's such a critical thing that I started my own skincare company, Serve Labs, to serve fun and functional skincare for everyone. And you know what? Not to toot my own horn, but people are always telling me, your skin looks so good, and I can't believe how old you are. Do you know why? Because I've been taking care of my skin for many, many years. But I know, for a lot of you, skincare just sounds like another chore. But I want to make it fun. And that's where Serve Labs comes in. Go to servelabs.co, servelabs.co, or follow us at Serve Labs on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and discover how easy and fun it is to treat your skin right with Serve Labs. So because I own this place, I've acquired furniture, right? Once you buy a place for the first time and you have like more space, and when you buy a place, usually you intend to stay there for a while. All these things make it more like acceptable, makes you more willing to buy more furniture. I have a giant dining room table that I barely eaten food at. And most nights I don't eat at the dining room table. Most meal times I don't eat at the dining room table. So the dining room table has just become a place to gather stuff. Every so often, I would have to basically clear off the dining room table. Because over time, I would just leave stuff on it. It's a giant 8-person dining room table. It fits the space perfectly, okay? But over time, stuff, items, belongings just gather on that dining room table. And every so often, when I tidy a house, it's like, okay, we need to take like 20 minutes 20 minutes just to put away everything that is just sitting on the dining room table. So right now it's clean because before I went on the Thanksgiving cruise a couple weeks ago, I cleared off everything. I like to tidy the whole house before I go on the trip. So right now it's completely empty and it's too big to fit into probably whatever place I move to next. I'm not buying another place. I'm going to rent. I don't think any place I'm gonna move to, any apartment that I'm gonna move to, is gonna have a big enough space for a giant dining room table. And having a giant dining table, it's just, I don't need it. It looks nice in my current dining area, but it's just like a large dining area that I have, and it fits that space perfectly. It looks great. So we're gonna keep that for the photos for the listing, and we're gonna just keep that as well as the rest of my furniture for when we have the open houses and have people tour and everything. So it looks great there, but I just don't need this giant table. All it does is accumulate stuff. I just put stuff on it and I walk away. But it's the easy, because it's in the middle of the house. I walk by it all the time. Yeah, would you like to buy a house in West Hollywood? No, don't worry. I got my realtor on it, Emma. And my realtor thing is going to be a pretty easy sale. So I need to paint this room, get rid of these mirrors I had talked about. And then I will no longer be a resident of Los Angeles County. I feel like one day I will probably move back. But honestly, I never saw this move that I'm making now. 2 years ago, I never saw it coming. Every time I make a major move in my life or some sort of major thing has changed, I'm always thinking, oh, I could not have foreseen this like 2 or 3 years ago, that I would be making this move or this big change in my life or whatever it is. But through my entire adult life, I've always had kind of some sort of major change every like 2 or 3 years for my whole entire adult life. Okay, ever since I moved out of my parents' place in Vancouver and I started my first like full-time job, and every like 1 or 2 years I've moved. This is the longest I've lived in any one place since I moved out of my parents' place, because I used to move every like 1 or 2 years. And every time that the move happened, or like I found out that I was gonna make that move, it was never something that was in planning for like a long time. All the moves just kind of like, life just happens. I used to move all the time for a promotion or for like a new job, and that stopped when I came to LA, when I bought this place. And there are a lot of people that they're not moving around all the time. They don't have all these like life changes. Like my brother and sister, they live very typical lives in the sense that, you know, they still live in Vancouver. They have like their own houses, but like they've been in their respective house or apartments or whatever for, I don't know, like 10 years now. You know, for a lot of people, it happens like that. But yeah, not for me. It's always like every 2 to 4 years, like I have to move for some reason. Not like I have to move, but like it's just like something comes up where either I have to move or like moving is like the best thing to do. And I kind of thought, I'm sick of moving. I don't like moving. Moving is a lot of work. And when I bought this place, I was like, okay, let's just stay in one place. But you know, at the time when I was looking at this place, I thought I was only going to stay here for 4 years. I probably would not have bought it. Well, maybe yes, maybe no, but like I definitely would have thought long and hard and thought twice about buying a place if I didn't think I was going to stay there for at least like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, maybe at least. So yeah, life is funny like that. So I think I'm going to go back to renting. I'm excited to be back in renting and not have so much responsibility again. And stay tuned to this podcast, because I'm going to keep you all updated on this next chapter of my life, which I don't have to move for it, but I've decided to move. I don't have to sell this place. I don't have to move out of West Hollywood, and I don't have to move out of LA, but I've decided to. And we have an episode of this podcast every single week, so we're going to have a lot of time to talk about it and to discuss it as I make my way through this process and as I hop into the next chapter of my life. So there you go. Another plug for my Patreon, by the way. Quickly, I'm having so much fun doing the Patreon, like really honestly. I make content for OnlyFans all the time. OnlyFans, that's work. That's like work. And the mindset about that is different. But the Patreon, it's supposed to be minimally filtered, the stuff I put on there. And it is. And it's so much easier to make content for the Patreon. Something interesting is happening in my daily life. I just turn the camera on and I record it. I do all these little random vlogs that go up onto my Patreon. I do the uncut version of this podcast just for the Patreon subscribers. And for the uncut versions, it's usually based around topics that the subscribers suggest. So whenever, sometimes I'll post like, hey, what topics do you guys want to talk about? Yeah, whenever I travel, I do a travel vlog. I've been doing travel vlogging again. I used to do it every trip when I was younger, but I haven't done it until recently, the last few trips I took. And I've been having fun doing the travel vlogs. So there you go. Yeah, there's so much content. I'm doing a post nearly every day on Patreon. It's been so much fun to do it. And it's so great to have like really engaged subscribers that will like comment on the things that I post, will like give me ideas for things to talk about. Yeah, it's been fun to like start to build this little community and just have like that interaction with my fans. So like just check out the Patreon. Even if you're not serious about paying for something, you don't want another subscription, I get it, but like go to my Patreon link. It's linked on my Instagram and it's linked everywhere. Even if you're not a paying subscriber, you can just see like previews of all the things that I post for the subscribers. And that will give you an idea of like the things that I post on there. If you do choose to subscribe, thank you so much. But yeah, I'm just been really, I've been liking it more than I thought doing the Patreon. So I'm really happy to like have stuff to post on there. It's been coming very organically. It's been coming very naturally to me to do the travel vlogs, to do these random vlogs, to just post things on there. It's very different than creating content from OnlyFans. It's a very, very different type of content. But I'm having a lot of fun doing the Patreon. So hopefully I'll see more of you over on the Patreon page. But until next time, bye y'all.